Whew. Hi, Mets fans. Welcome to another emergency live stream edition of the Just Mets podcast. My name is Andrew Claudio. Rich MacLeod is out for the night where everybody should be. I'm hoping this is a quick emergency live stream. I'll hang out with all of you that do decide to tune in, and I'll talk through it because few things shock me anymore in sports. Few things rattle me anymore. I really did think this was coming down to the Mets or the Blue Jays. And look, Rich and I, as you've watched some of our content lately, we did a podcast last night. We recorded for like 2.5 hours last night. It was really fun. We did a quick 15 to 20 minute where things currently stand. And I said in that I really don't think it's the Dodgers. Famous last words. I really don't think it's the Dodgers. Then I talked about the long-term deal that the Blue Jays were offering, and then the short-term deal that the Mets were offering, and the pros and the cons, and all the things I've been hearing about Kyle Tucker. And he doesn't want a long-term deal. He doesn't know he wants to be playing baseball 10 years from now, and that was advantage Mets. And I really thought they had a chance to get him. And then we recorded for about 90 minutes on a pod that's on our Patreon. I will be on our Patreon sometime on Friday. And then we got the news that the Blue Jays were offering a 10-year deal and that the Mets are going to go to 4 years and maybe would include a fifth. And yeah, we recorded the thing that actually went live. And we decided the deal would be if Kyle Tucker signs with the Mets, we'll wait until we'll react. We'll go live. We'll go live no matter what. All day, I was thinking it's Mets or Dodgers. I even put out Mets or Blue Jays, and I put out a tweet, as sometimes I'm able to do, of just here's where my head is. I think it's 40% Mets, 40% Blue Jays for rational reasons, because it's reported that the Mets are the highest bidder or offering this ridiculous contract, and the Blue Jays are offering long-term sustainability. And I'll add 20% to the Dodgers because you can never rule them out, but I don't know what Kyle Tucker wants. And then we get to what actually happened at around 9:51 p.m. tonight, Eastern tonight. So if you're just joining, you're probably very confused in the first 5 minutes of this emergency live stream. Kyle Tucker, breaking news, is signing with the Los Angeles Dodgers. 4 years, $60 million per season, $240 million. There's an opt-out after year 2, an opt-out after year 3. I would imagine, it being the Dodgers, there are some deferrals, although there's no details about that yet. If the chat wants to take a look, please let me know if you see anything. I'll start here. The commentary that Rich and I, and the sentiment that Rich and I know, I mean, Rich, if he's able to join later, he will, but I know the sentiment I was going to put out there, even if they didn't get Kyle Tucker, was that this is now them behaving like a big market franchise, because that's like 4 for 200 is an absurd amount of money to offer Kyle Tucker. To make him like Juan Soto like money is just absurd. And so I'll be disappointed if they don't get the player, but I can't say that this is the Edwin Diaz situation. This is them learning from the Edwin Diaz situation and actually putting an offer out there that tells the player, hey, we want you. We want to put you in the different conversations. The problem I now run into in trying to maintain that is that the Mets didn't actually have the most irrational offer. They didn't have the most insane offer. And I'd like to amend the Andrew Friedman quote that's just been going around this offseason, that I think it was 2016 or a long time ago. He said this quote that if you're rational on every free agent, you'll finish third on every free agent. Well, apparently, if you're irrational on free agents, you'll finish second to the Dodgers, because they remain the most irrational team in the sport. Look, there's some baseball long-term ramifications for sure because there's a looming lockout, and if the Dodgers are going to be able to treat the Mets like a small market team, I don't know, man. Like, it seems very clear that what I feared and what all of us feared was that Kyle Tucker didn't want a long-term deal, but he also didn't want to play for the Mets. And so he used both the Mets and the Jays to get the offer up from the Dodgers so he could be low key in LA. And the Dodgers, again, I'm waiting for the deferrals to come out about this deal. But it seems pretty clear to me that he just wanted to be a Dodger because this wasn't a bidding war. I think he used the Mets to get the Dodgers offer up to where it was. 4 years, 240 is an absurd amount of money. There's one player in baseball that's ever been offered that much money, average annual value, and it's Shohei Ohtani. Kyle Tucker's not better than Juan Soto. He's not better than Aaron Judge. He's not the fourth best of that list of the top 4 highest paid players in the sport. He's really good. I wanted the Mets to have an irrational outfield of Juan Soto in right and Kyle Tucker in left. I am, you can hear it. I'm somewhat speechless that I'm somewhat speechless that that's actually happened, that the Dodgers actually offered what they did, and like it were even more irrational than the Mets, flexed their big market muscles. And look, I'd hate to, I know it counts the same against the salary, against the average annual value, the luxury tax, but that Ohtani contract where he's accepting so little per year so the Dodgers can be irrational during his time. Yeah, it it now creates the Dodgers ability. I understand they don't have to commit to him. They don't have to commit to him yearly the same, but they do have to commit from a payroll standpoint. I think 46 million is the actual AAV that counts toward the luxury tax. Yeah, everything that's coming out about this, the Dodgers payroll is now at 413 million. I want to applaud the Mets slightly because they didn't get the guy and they still have a hole in left field, and now I have to see what they do. They did behave like a big market franchise here. They did actually try to flex their muscles. I think the reality that a lot of us have had to accept over the last 2 years, a lot of us have had to understand where things stand, is that one team has the biggest muscles in the sport. Like the Yankees were never this evil empire. They also didn't win when they were called the evil empire as much as the Dodgers currently do. But man, this is it's disappointing if you're a Mets fan, even if I'm very okay with the process. I'm like, you hear me kind of talking through it. They offered the insane contract. They behaved like a big market franchise. This wasn't Edwin Diaz where you lowballed him thinking the market would come back to you. No, you set the market. You know, when I first heard them checking in on Kyle Tucker, it was never like, I don't know. I never thought it would get to the point of like they're actually in the sweepstakes. I thought they were being, oh, they're checking in. Great. Like I check in to see if my favorite restaurant's going to be open earlier. Like I check in on movie times. Like if you want to be serious about it, go meet with him. Like go offer a contract. And as the week went along, listen, we were sitting here insane, reacting to 3 for 150. You know, like 50 million was a crazy contract. And the Dodgers showed up and said, hold my beer and wait until a salary cap gets employed because we exist. And here we are. Kyle Tucker is a Los Angeles Dodger. The team that lost to the Dodgers in the World Series got, it's weird. My buddy Esbar Heaney up in Toronto, he also sent me a F the Dodgers text, and we exchanged those texts back and forth because like Blue Jays fans were hoping this would be the offseason that they flexed their muscles. And if you're a Blue Jays fan, you're feeling the same way. Like, hey, I applaud my team. They tried to give the crazy contract to Kyle Tucker when nobody else was offering him a long-term contract, and he said no. And then there's us, Mets fans, just like, hey, if you're gonna make me get over losing Pete Alonso and, you know, losing Brandon Nimmo's would have been very easy to get over if it's Kyle Tucker. Uh, yeah, I'm floored here, man, that he ended up in LA. They end up getting the best free agent position player on the market. They end up getting the best free agent closer on the market. This is a team that just won back-to-back World Series. It's hard not to feel defeated if you're watching the sport this year, that there's an inevitability of Thanos / the Dodgers just waiting for all of us. This is the most it's ever felt like when Kevin Durant went to the Warriors. And now baseball's weird, so the Dodgers could absolutely lose. I don't see them losing. But yeah, that's where my head's at. I'm gonna start going to the chat a bit because I need people to help me talk through this. I'm just very much trying to make sense of like how the Mets got the richest owner in the sport, and then another team emerged as a reckless, spend crazy franchise that gets all the big free agents. You know, it's why I'm not really that mad at the Dodgers. I envy the Dodgers. I wish we were the Dodgers. And I think all of us are frustrated that our teams are not the Dodgers. And hopefully, because baseball allows you the opportunity to do that at the end of the day with how it's played, someone will beat the Dodgers. You know, we'll see if it's our team. I'm just going to start here with Kevin Danishevsky. What number did the Mets get up to? The last reported thing I saw was 4 for 200. If anybody else has a different number in the chat or sees a different number, please tell me. I'll be happy to correct that. But that's the last thing I saw. Next from Keith Overfield. I mean, they should have just matched our 50 and that would have got it done, but they hit 10 million more just to rub it in. The crazy thing about it is like did anybody hear what the Dodgers were offering? Did anybody hear what the Dodgers were offering? Bravo to Andrew Friedman. Bravo to that outfit. You know, this is they got their guy and they got him in secrecy. This is some sly shit that they were able to pull off. Next from Bill Gazinski, Bauer 2.0. I'm just gonna start here to say I wanted no part of Trevor Bauer in my team. This feels much more like Yamamoto. This feels much more that the Mets were used to get another team's offer up from a player that wanted to go to the Dodgers. And yeah, it's also like weirdly how the Yankees had a line they couldn't cross with Yamamoto when they were trying to go after him because they had Garrett Cole and he was the highest paid pitcher in the sport at the time. And they couldn't go above a certain AAV because of the politics of like, we're going to bring somebody in that hasn't proven he's better than Garrett Cole, but we're going to pay him more than Garrett Cole. And I think it's fascinating that the Mets were like, we'll go to $50 million a year for Kyle Tucker, but we're not going to 52 or 51 even because we have an outfielder making 51. And like that whole politics of it, the Dodgers we have Ohtani. Like nobody's making more than Ohtani. Come be the second highest paid player in the sport. Like it actually gave them the freedom to go do that. And this is just insane. James Buckley, $126 million a year after luxury tax. That's what the Dodgers are going to be paying Kyle Tucker. They I wish it's why I'm having a hard time really saying like fuck the Dodgers. I hate them. I envy them. I want the Mets to be them. It's just hard to be them right now because they have gotten to they got there first and they're flexing these muscles during this Ohtani window that they have. You know, because I see people in the chat talking about here's from James Buckley again. Now Dodgers can get Scooble. Yeah. Go trade all your prospects for Scooble. Go 1 year. Who cares? You know, Dodgers just got graded as the highest rated farm system in the sport. Go trade several high profile prospects for Tariq Skubal. And, even if he walks at the end of the year, you'll be able to still have Tariq Skubal for the year that you went for a 3-peat. And imagine this: Skubal game 1, Yamamoto game 2, Snell game 3, Glasnow game 4. It's just, this is the reality we live in as baseball fans right now. Matty Heads, what up, buddy? How you doing? The Mets offered him a ridiculous deal. The Dodgers offered him an even more ridiculous deal because they play Monopoly with Monopoly money. They do. It does feel like they print money, which they do, knowing what they have on the international market and, what they're able to do here in the States as well. Edward A. Burkhardt. I'll be happy if there's a lot of deferrals at some point. The team needs to break up. I'm not referring to the Mets. I'm referring to the Dodgers. Has it been reported? Anybody in the chat see this? Has it been reported whether there are referrals or deferrals in this contract or not? $30 million. Okay, John Heyman. Tucker's only $30 million in deferrals. So in theory, Tucker's deal has $30 million in deferrals out of the $240. So in theory, they beat the Mets offer by $10 million per season. Not $10 million per season, $10 million total. So it's like a 4 years, 210. And then they added 30 in deferrals. Here's your retirement fund, Man. It's why I'm having a hard time being mad at the Mets here. And if anybody wants to pivot to Mets questions, we can. They tried. They gave a valiant effort. Their process was good here. I applaud them behaving like a big market team. I can't help that they couldn't beat the Dodgers. That's just a thing we're all going to have to get used to in this sport. Like the Yankees felt this way after the 24 World Series. The Blue Jays felt this way, although they very much could have beat the Dodgers. And then from a free agency standpoint, hold on to Juan Soto, folks, because that's the bidding war that the Mets actually won. I always said if there was an actual bidding war for Soto, if there's ever an actual bidding war, Steve Cohen will win it. This doesn't seem like it was a bidding war. It sounds like Kyle Tucker wanted to go to LA. Now, I may end up being wrong, but that's how it feels. John C., there's nothing in the world that the Dodgers needed more than a left field bat. Without it, who knows? It's almost been 3 months since the World Series. Oh, you're a Dodger fan. Since we won a World Series, that's just way too long for us. God bless you, man. Honestly, your team has made everybody else hate you, and I'm sure it's an advantageous spot. After all those years of Kershaw ruining playoff moments for you, you're able to now get on the other side of Kershaw with the dynasty in hand. So, bravo. Good luck to you. Anthony OU 812. Losing Alonso looks even worse. Yeah, so this starts to get into what the Mets do next, because look, if you're willing to give Kyle Tucker $200 million, Pete Alonso got 155, Edwin Diaz got 69. That's $214 million. So for $14 more million, you could have had Alonso and Diaz. I've moved on. I have just come to the understanding that David Stearns is willing to pay high AAV or top dollar for players that are still in their prime, as long as it's for the entirety of their prime. And look, there's a world where the last year or two of Pete Alonso's contract, he's a very high paid DH whose bat is declining, and the Mets didn't want to even consider that offer. Like maybe they went to 3 years. It sounds like they didn't even want to go past 1 or 2 with Pete. But the Orioles had different priorities in mind. They wanted to get a big ticket free agent, and they ended up getting the player. They were reckless with their offer because they didn't care about what the last 2 years of Pete Alonso end up being. Yeah, I I think it now depends what they do next. Do they now enter the Cody Bellinger sweepstakes? Do they now go make a trade for a pitcher, whether it be Freddie Peralta? Does it? Do they decide to go get Framber Valdez? Their outfield needs some depth. I wouldn't be the name I've been thinking about all day. If the Tucker thing went the other way, is Luis Robert. I think they end up with at least Robert to him to play center. Or left, him and Tyrone Taylor. That's a good defensive outfielder. It allows Carson Bench to come up here and kind of ease his way in as a 9-hitter, eventually, hopefully become the highly touted prospect that he is. But yeah, that's I think losing Alonso hurts in the sense of if the whole point is to be entertained by sports, like you want to watch the guys that you are entertained by, that you have an emotional connection with. If the alternative is you have a chance to win a title with like there's a lot of Knicks fans going through this right now. If like you made me give up the good vibes of DiVincenzo and that Villanova only team, even though like Mikal Bridges is still here, but like that team in 2024 for the Knicks was so special and so fun and like our good time. And they traded some of those guys for high talented guys and said, all right, we're going to make you watch our team that is just here to win a championship. Like that's the goal. Every night that you're frustrated by Karl Anthony Towns, any night that you're frustrated by Mikal Bridges or OG Anunoby, but these are the growing pains of a champion. And so like, all right, you're making me turn in my good time to go compete for a championship. The fact that Kyle Tucker now goes to a 2-time defending champ after they already stole Edwin Diaz from you, it would have at least just been happy or good to have your good time as a Mets fan watching a player that you enjoy. If there was no chance, which is I think a lot of Mets fans are feeling, like there's no chance that you could beat the Dodgers in 7-game series. At least I'll get to watch Pete Alonso. And I hate to say it, the Mets are looking to give you new guys to root for. Juan Soto's still pretty good. Lindor's still pretty good. And hopefully they're right on all of these prospects because they're going to have to be to give us that good feeling again. Edward Burkhardt with another one. I'm curious, in order to get where they are now, didn't the Dodgers have to suffer some years like this? I'm curious, but I'm a Mets fan. So, look, the Dodgers, it's weird how do you evaluate the Kershaw career. They went through their like laying the groundwork, building through their farm system era, and like Justin Turner wasn't meant to be like one of the best third basemen in franchise history. He just developed into that. They had Adrian Gonzalez until they had Cody Bellinger, and then first base, like Max Muncy has bounced around the infield. Like they had their guys that weren't superstars all around their lineup. The Cody Taylor, I think is his name. And there's the catcher that they used to have before Will Smith. Like they had all these different guys. Like they're all Tommy Edmonds, right? And because Kershaw was so like generationally great during the regular season, they became like teams that won the playoffs. But because he was so generationally bad in the postseason, there was always quick exits for them. You could literally point to 5 different playoff exits that all coincide with, oh yeah, Kershaw. He blew up in the postseason when we least needed it, and that's why we won 100 games or 190 games and didn't make the second round. Look, it starts with Ohtani, really. Like they won the prize of getting Shohei Ohtani. I think it actually starts with Mookie Betts, but like they were a regular season juggernaut with Mookie Betts too. That first year with Mookie Betts, they won the World Series. The second year, they won 106, but lost to the Giants. They lost the division to the Giants, but then beat the Giants in the LDS. Then they went and lost to the Braves because, again, baseball's weird. Then the following season, that's 2022 we're up to, they won 111 games, lost to the Padres. Then they won 100 games, lost to the Diamondbacks. Then they signed Ohtani. and they haven't looked back since, you know? So that's where being the Dodgers, like, they've just now gone to this, like, we have fuck you money, we have a fuck you attitude with the deferrals. I cannot wait for like 5-6 years from now, the note that's going to get put out there by Passan or whoever that they're selling the team and letting somebody else deal with this team that has all deferrals on their contracts. But yeah, I'm of the opinion that I'm of the opinion that the Dodgers, like, were a team that at least built that floor, and it helped that you had Kershaw to help build that floor all throughout the 2010s. And the Mets will eventually build that floor with their farm system, with their everyday guys. It's just Barnes. That's the catcher I'm thinking of, Austin Barnes. Yeah. Kike Hernandez is another guy like that, by the way. Anyway, like Jock Peterson, guys like that. Okay, Tim Frith. This is the question I think a lot of us, after missing out on Kyle Tucker, should the Mets sign both Cody Bellinger and Marcell Ozuna? For one, I want no part of Marcell Ozuna. Also, he is a DH, and I'd rather just see what Mark Vientos is at this point in his career. Yeah, go get Cody Bellinger. You know, it'll be very funny if you once again have to pivot from a better free agent to a former Yankee. It seems like that's the story of the offseason. It's just we're going to go out and get former Yankees. Go get Cody Bellinger, make him your left fielder, and then go focus on your pitching. See if you can get something for Valdez. See if you can get something for. See if you can get. See if you can get Framer Valdez or Freddie Peralta or Joe Ryan or someone else on the trade market. I know that's what the report is, that after the Tucker after the Tucker sweepstakes are over, the Mets will look to go elsewhere in the trade market to focus on their pitching. So yeah, I'm all in on Cody Bellinger. If they can go get him, it does feel like a silver medal, but it's better than who they currently have in left field on the 40-man roster, which is Jared Young is like the third best outfielder on the 40-man roster right now. Now, Carson Bench could absolutely come up and be your left fielder. We've just learned that Tyrone Taylor is also not an everyday center fielder, and right now he's the second outfielder on the team right now. So they have to go get somebody. Luis Robert, and I'm just going to say his name so it's funny, Lars Nootbaar continue to be the names on the trade market that aren't sexy but fit the Mets model for what they're trying to do with their depth. So yeah, that's where I think the Mets go with now missing out on Kyle Tucker. I believe I'm about to be joined by a very special guest who is now home and now gets to ridicule me, which is good because I need to drink some water. And I can add him to the stage and give him the floor for a little bit to give his thoughts. Rich MacLeod now joins me on this emergency live stream. Rich, I hope you had a better night than any of us watching did. But Rich, Kyle Tucker is a Los Angeles Dodger. How are you?
Wait, what? What happened?
Yeah.
I thought we were talking about the 2-year minor league signing from this afternoon. That's not what we're doing?
Shout out to David Stern. Shout out to Infrastructure.
Kyle who? I tried to warn you last night, man. I said...
Listen, I opened the show with it.
Famous last
words. Yeah.
I mean, is anybody really surprised? Like, even in my surprise, I'm not surprised. I'm annoyed the Mets didn't get him. I'm annoyed they lose another bidding war, if you want to call this that, to the Dodgers. Third time since David Stearns took the job, he's lost a guy he really wanted to the Dodgers, because you've got Yamamoto and Diaz and now Kyle Tucker. Even Steve Cohen got involved in this and it still didn't take it over the edge. And now that tweet of his from this afternoon is basically just being used as a big giant joke for everybody else. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I'm not upset I'm just kind of like, okay, like, sure, the Dodgers went from going to win the World Series to going to win the World Series. Mets' final offer, according to somebody in the chat, was 4 for $220. So, I mean, they got close.
That Heyman just reported 200. I know what the chat. I see the person in the chat. John Heyman, like 15 minutes ago, said the final offer from the Mets was 4 for 200. I'll look this up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that we talked about in the kind of like mini show or whatever we did last night.
Jim Duquette, Kyle Tucker's the Mets offer was 4 220. Yeah, man. Go ahead, Rich. I'm sorry I keep jumping in. This is I am somewhat shocked. I will say this. I know my reaction ends up being like you. Of course, it's the Dodgers. Of course it is. Because this wasn't a bidding war. This wasn't like highest offer wins. This was, I want to be a Dodger, get the number to where I can be a Dodger and not have to give up more. And the Dodgers were like, all right, we'll give you a retirement fund in deferrals. And that's where it was. That's why it's Yamamoto. Like you said, it's being used to bring the price up for the guy's place he wanted to be. If Steve Cohen picked a line because he thought he was being driven up too high, I think the line doesn't get to 240 and he ends up being a Dodger anyway. You know, this is, if he had signed with the Mets for 220, we'd be sitting here saying that's an insane contract, but I'm glad they got the player. That's still an insane contract that they offered, but I'm now disappointed they didn't get the player. Sorry, continue.
I mean, what I was saying was, you know, we talked about it last night, but I mean, the Mets offers were so reported in a weird way. It just felt like they were getting used. Funny enough, though, the theory last night was more, are the Mets getting used for the Blue Jays, or are the Blue Jays getting used for the Mets? Turns out they were both getting used for the goddamn Dodgers.
Yeah.
And, you know, very well done by the Dodgers yet again and by these agents. Didn't want to come here, didn't want to go to Toronto. We were asking, why is this taking so long? Like, how do you turn this offer down? It's because he didn't want to come here. He was just trying to get as much as he could out of the Dodgers. And I don't know, good for him. The bigger question, I guess, and I'm sure this is what you've been talking about while you've been on. I've only been able to listen to a couple of minutes, but is the what's next question, which has kind of been the question the entire offseason. And we're at the point in the offseason where it's getting kind of bleak now. Because I don't see a universe where the Mets are giving Cody Bellinger 7 years, because they wouldn't give Kyle Tucker more than 4. And after Cody Bellinger, there's a pretty steep decline of position players in free agency. And as far as we know, there's nobody of significance available via trade for a bat. So, I mean, we talked about, I think the first episode we did together for the entire offseason was talking about that game of musical chairs. It feels like the Mets just lost the game.
It feels like they're going to, because I agree with you about Cody Bellinger. It's why, like, even saying the name Cody Bellinger feels like, and I want to give Albie Square the credit for putting in the chat that the final offer the Mets gave was 220. Even saying the name Cody Bellinger is like, great, another former Yankee. Like, that's just where we're gonna go shopping all off season.
I don't care about that.
I don't care either, but it's like you would have been able to frame from a PR perspective, like, no, we went out and got the prize of the offseason. And now it's like, nope, you get a silver medal, and it's just like another person that was in that clubhouse. Devin Williams and Luke Weaver can all like talk about, hey, wow, the Queens is nice. I never realized it was just a borough away. And if it's not him, though, I hate to keep saying the name, Rich, but it's Luis Robert and it's Lars Nootbaar, and it's like like shout out to Meek Phil who put out the depth chart. Jared Young's like their third outfielder right now. That's where things stand. So yeah, there's still work to do, but now the ceiling you thought the Mets could reach from a like you improve the offense, like you improve the offense, you improve the defense. That no longer seems attainable, and it's now just a
Yeah.
hope in the infrastructure of these kids and the prospects that are going to get a chance this year. And they now need to go get some pitching. And I got to tell you, Rich, what's stopping the Dodgers from giving a haul of prospects for Tariq Skubal now?
Nothing but the Detroit GM wielding balls of steel, I guess, and saying no. But why would you do that?
The team with the highest rated farm system. What's stopping them from just being like, all right, yeah, we used our money to go get the best closer on the market. We used our money to go get the best outfielder or best everyday player on the market. Now let's go get the best pitcher that could be available for a year and try to win 130 games.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's where things stand.
There's not much to say, I guess. Why wouldn't you do it? And then you don't even have to re-sign, because we got at this point, maybe we will get a salary cap. It's getting kind of nuts. Not that we should. I'll fight that fight till I can't anymore. But I mean, it's. I don't blame the Dodgers again. I blame everybody else. But that's a pretty crazy contract. But
yeah,
if the Dodgers could do it, the Mets could. If the Mets went to 220, they could have done this, I guess. You drew an invisible line somewhere, but maybe the Dodgers just never would have stopped because that's where he wanted to go. So,
are you sure they drew an invisible line?
I don't know. I'm not sure of anything.
The final offer is more than we ever heard. The final offer is more than what the Dodgers' technical final offer of 4-2-10 was. That's why I keep saying this is not a bidding war that they lost. This is he wanted to be a Dodger, and the Dodgers were like, it's honestly similar to Edwin, except the Mets actually gave an offer of we want the player, and here we want to prove it. But
yeah, if they did this with him, he'd still be here. That's for sure.
Well, I know what you're saying. Let's hope they didn't. Let's hope they didn't offer Edwin Diaz 3 years.
No, I just meant
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
giving it the old college try instead of
the full court press, as Jim Duquette said. The full court press.
If you're the plain person on the date, you probably shouldn't be playing hard to get.
Right.
And
this was they put a suit on for this. They put on a tux for this. Unfortunately, another team bought a limo, and another team, made sure that their dad flew in their favorite celebrity. I've gone way too far with this analogy now. This is very much he wanted to be a Dodger and use, like you said, both the Mets and the Blue Jays to get that offer up. I can't fully. I'm mad at the Mets for everything before this. This was actually them behaving like the team I wanted them to behave like all off season is where I stand on this.
Curious what the sentiment is with Met fans online. Has it been anger? Has it been
from the chat and from the chat and from the comments that I saw before logging on? It's the second. It's very much like the anger is much more directed at the Dodgers, and the throw your hands up is like what do you do? It's a team that keeps getting everybody. It's a team that keeps the Dodgers have 8 players with $130 million contracts or more.
Dude, the Dodgers won back-to-back World Series and then signed Edwin Diaz and Kyle Tucker. Jesus, man.
Yeah,
I am so incredibly jealous of what it must be like to be a Dodgers fan right now.
We have several in the chat too, so you can.
I mean, shout out to them. They're not doing anything wrong. MLB owners did not spend enough to the point where the Dodgers were like, okay, we're going to take advantage of this. The league let the Dodgers do this for several years, up until the point where the Dodgers became such winners that now it's impossible for people to say no to them because they want to go there and they want to win and they're going to get paid. So even though like now you have teams like the Mets trying to, like, damage is already done because all these other teams let them do this. They let them become this. And so when the sport shuts down in 10 months or whatever that is, don't blame the Dodgers, blame the other 20, I don't know, 5 teams or so.
Yeah.
I got no smoke for they're doing what you're supposed to do. They're trying to win at all costs every single year until it is not allowed anymore, or they just can't keep it going.
Buster Olney, with Tucker off the board, the next domino could fall in New York. Will the Mets outbid the Yankees for Bellinger?
I don't think so.
So do you think the Mets go to 6 years for Bellinger? Because it seems to be the hang up with the Yankees, that they're trying to go to 5. And if he gets one team to offer him 6 and outbid the Yankee offer of 5/150, he'll take it. Like, do the Mets offer him 6/180? And do you want them to offer him 6/180?
No, and no. I just don't see. I don't see it. Who's the player? Other than Juan Soto, who's the player that David Stearns has wanted to give more than 4 years to? Nobody.
Yeah, I'm there too.
I don't see it. We got that. It's funny. Like, we got that report. What was it, last week, where Olney had said the Yankees and the Dodgers had an impasse, and basically like the conversations were dead. And he probably wasn't going to go back. And then that reminded me of what happened with Alonso last year, where the exact same thing happened. And then 10 days later, he signed with the Mets. So I was like, oh, this seems like, a little leaky business going on. And yeah, you turn around and it's like, it's still the Yankees. They're still talking. Like, I don't see, there's never been a point this winter where I thought the Yankees were going to lose him.
Yeah.
I still don't. And like, if it takes the Mets 6 years to get him, like, I'm not. And I'm kind of like a screw it, like, just sign the guy, I don't care person. 6 is a lot.
Do you think they could get him high AAV, like 3 for 1, 3 for 115?
I think he's done that already.
He did. So he did 3 for 60 or 70, whatever the contract was. So it wasn't 3 for 115.
Sure.
Which, again, would be an insane contract for Cody Bellinger. But maybe, and this is what I've been trying to understand about what the Mets strategy is. Like, if they're just paying for your prime, like, they're not going to have 2 years where your contract is just dead money, right? Which is why I think Pete Alonso's not a New York Met anymore. Then maybe they would do the same for Cody Bellinger and just say, here's 3 years. You'll be 34 when you get done, but you'll be $110 million richer, and you've never had a $100 million contract before.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's me trying to talk myself into it. I don't think he's going to get, I don't think he wants to be a free agent for another 6 years is where we're at. So,
yeah, I think he's trying to get his last real contract here. And he's probably never going to have a year better than the one he just had for the rest of his career. So capitalize now, and clearly his agent Scott Boras is doing that, or trying to, at least.
So, couple questions from the chat. Let's go to Mr. Danishevsky. 98 Yankees or 26 Dodgers? Very clearly the 26 Dodgers for me.
As long as they win.
Oh, I thought like most hated.
I think he's asking better.
Better? Well, yeah, like the result's not there yet.
Yeah.
There's been great regular season teams that were better than the
Dodgers
20.
barely tried in the regular season last year. They only won like 90
Yeah,
something games because they don't care. They just like, we'll win enough to get in, and then we'll actually try, and we'll just beat the living crap out of everybody else.
yeah. A lot of people forget they played on the wild card round. They played the Reds, the team that beat us to get to the playoffs. That would have been us. The Mets playing the Dodgers, and they're on their way to another championship.
Chum in the water.
Yeah, yeah. If we're just going from a talent standpoint, very easily 26 Dodgers. The Yankees in 98 had Scott Brocious, like a journeyman second baseman, and Chuck Knobloch, like a young catcher, not yet like borderline Hall of Fame catcher in Jorge Posada, but he was splitting time with the end of career Joe Girardi. Like Chad Curtis and Ricky Leday and Shane Spencer played important roles on that Yankee team. That was a juggernaut built on pitching and a bullpen, but we look back on that team because they won a ton, not because of the talent that they had. This is going to be a bit of both. That we're just going to look at how much they won because of how much freaking talent they had, which is insane. It's just insane. Shout out to CH Man. I don't know your full name, CH Man, but
Shaman.
Yeah. Don't mind me. I'm a Red Sox fan. Glad to see the rest of the AL East fall into oblivion with my team. Yeah, I've been listening to a lot of Red Sox podcasts over the past like 6 days since they lost Bregman, and there's a lot of frustration in like their front office and mentioning the Friedman quote of if you're rational with every free agent, you're third on every free agent. Even though it seems like you missed this at the beginning, Rich. I said the new quote should be, even if you're irrational with every free agent, you'll finish second to the most irrational team in the sport.
In this era, for sure.
Yeah, CH Man, Chaman, at least he's not in your division, which was the alternative. It looked like that he could be a Blue Jay, and so now, Dodgers, the Red Sox can go get Bo Bichette and potentially look at the Blue Jays as a little weaker, and you only have to worry about the Dodgers in the World Series, and you can try and take on the Yankees. Maybe the Mets can do you another favor and take Cody Bellinger out of your division too. We'll see if that's something they could do.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of the AL East, it did seem on my Twitter when I was on my way home that last shit talk from Yankee fans. Like, isn't your biggest signing Paul Blackburn? Why don't you pipe the fuck down for a little bit?
I gotta be honest, I didn't see a single Yankee fan say anything. So
I saw a few.
If it's there, unfortunately, yeah, it's.
What are you talking about? You weren't even involved. What does that say?
So, yeah, the Cody Bellinger sweepstakes are now where we head, unfortunately. Or fortunately, who knows if we get another Yankee Met bidding war for the second best outfielder available. There's a large gap between this one and the other one. All right. Maju Varghese has several things he wants to get off his chest.
Okay.
The Stern strategy of not giving long-term deals only works if, one, other teams won't go long-term, two, the Dodgers don't want the guy you want. Bregman, Pete, Schwarber all got 5 years, and LA went nuts. On January 15th, a month from pitchers and catchers, the 83-win Mets from last season are worse than they were 4 months ago. I agree with this statement wholeheartedly, by the way.
Yeah.
As it stands, minus McNeil, the underperforming 5 through 9 hitters from last year are coming back, and 2 of the top 4 hitters from last year are gone. Make it make sense. I think this summarizes how a lot of Mets fans are frustrated as a whole on the offseason, Rich, which is why I think that goes to what you said yesterday. Getting Kyle Tucker would have fixed everything. Just would have recontextualized and reshaped how you looked at everything. Now we're back to ifs and possibilities. Like if Kodai Senga and Sean Manaea and David Peterson can have bounce back seasons, if some of these prospects can come up and right away contribute at a major league level, if Brett Beatty and Francisco Alvarez can continue some of the second half success they had when they got called up to the majors, if Mark Vientos can regain 2024 Mark Vientos form, if Devin Williams can return to being a productive closer at the major league level and not just a setup man in this market, if Luke Weaver can return to form where he was 2 years ago, where he was the Yankees closer during a World Series run, like if AJ Minter and Brooks Raley can be late 30-year-old left-handed dependable relievers, you know, all of these are ifs. It felt like a Kyle Tucker guarantee. Oh, by the way, if Jorge Polanco can play a position that he's played 3 outs for in the majors successfully, it is an entire offseason of ifs. It's created a roster of maybes. There are very few certainties I have with this team. Maybe the variants will go their way. Like maybe like if Jonah Tong shows that he can be as dominant at the major league level that he was at the minor league level, I don't know where I stand on Nolan McLean. I think he's going to be an ace for this team. Hopefully he is. But as I start to now share the sentiment of our last commenter, the vacuum of the Kyle Tucker sweepstakes and losing that is frustrating, but I applaud the process. I maintain this has been a failure of an offseason for the franchise, and you got about a month to fix that.
Yeah, I mean, it's January 15th now. As of today, like no question about it, the Mets are worse than they were last year in a year that they were not good. I will just say, what's the roster going to look like on March 26th? That's opening day. If it looks not much different from how it is today, then like it's going to be open season for the next 8 months. You know, we had the OMG Mets, like we had the We Hear Knicks in 2021. I think 2026 is just the what if Mets. Like at this point, that's how I see this team. And you know, unless they do something real sexy, real surprising, real dramatic in the next 2-3 weeks at this point, whatever's left of the offseason, they're probably going to be a 2024-esque type of team that needs things to go well for them to be competitive. And if that's the case, then further conversation about the president of baseball operations will happen, and deservedly so.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I did a lot of time. Do you want to stay on even longer, or you want to call it here?
I've got nothing left as long as I don't see anything crazy going on in the chat. Some shout out to Dickie Lovelady. Very nice. If Dickie Lovelady gets a big out against Aaron Judge like Jake Diekman.
Jake Diekman.
Shout out Jake Diekman. Maybe they could sign him.
Hold up.
Do you want to yell about anything else?
Chaman, hey hosts, we did take hosts. I'm Andrew, that's Rich, by the way. We don't have name tags up for the live stream, but I'm Andrew, that's Rich. Yeah. Chaman, hey hosts, we did take Ranger Suarez out of your division though. Thank you for that. I didn't want him on my team either. So
yeah,
he just was only annoying for the other team. So enjoy Ranger Suarez. I like the Red Sox rotation.
Shout out to the Red Sox for that.
You want Framber Valdez?
Yeah.
That's where I'm at too. Yeah, sure.
Makes them better. I'm not gonna, be running around in circles about it, but it would make them better. And they gotta. We saw they have money to spend this year still, so it's not many places to spend it at this point. You might as well sign him and then go trade for somebody else.
Cody Bellinger, Framber Valdez. Is the offseason saved?
Saved, no. But you can talk yourself into that being a baseball team.
Competitive
They probably would be.
Yeah. But last thing, if I see one more person put the Steamer or the Zips predictions or projections up that the Mets have like a high projected win total. They have Juan Soto and Francisco Lindor. They have two war machines, literally, in the top of their payroll. They're going to be projected to win a lot of games. They were projected to win a lot of games last year, and they won 83. Their floor is so much lower now, which is way more of what I care about than the Zips projections or the Steamer projections. Go outside. Goodness. If I see one more time people trying to contextualize what they're doing by this newfound, and this is where I'll share Chaman's frustration with the projected models of people. That's what runs baseball teams now. Where, look, I empathize with the Harvard grads that are like, we got all the answers to the test, but we might not get 100%. Yeah, that's sports. You have to deal with humans. I'm sorry you have to deal with humans in this competitive thing that we call professional sports. Unfortunately, I don't really trust the Mets floor anymore. I don't. I'm very frustrated by where things currently stand because of the direction they've chosen. They have 30 days to change that, is where I stand. Sports Enjoyer with a comment, by the way. Any faith in Ryan Clifford at first base? I don't think the Mets have much faith in Ryan Clifford at first base, but he's currently projected to be a first baseman, so we'll see. All the projections for Ryan Clifford are somewhere around, like someone said, like high end at Eugenio Suarez from a power standpoint, like a guy that hits 220 but might hit 30, 35 home runs in a season. But he honestly grades out like a Pete Alonso, like a high power, poor defense first baseman. That's just from the left side now.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I don't think we're going to see. I think if we see Clifford at some point this year, it's probably not great.
Yeah.
I think he could use a little bit more time down there. Another lefty too, which, I mean, they didn't have an issue when it was Kyle Tucker because it's Kyle Tucker, but generally speaking, they shouldn't be looking to add too many more lefties.
He wanted to be a Dodger, Rich. John Heyman, Mets offer was front-loaded, slightly more front-loaded than the Dodgers deal. 60, 60, 50, 50 off, so there were no deferrals.
Dodgers deferred what, 30 million?
30 million. He wanted to be a Dodger.
It was just close enough. He got the fake high number. So it was still technically higher than the Mets, but a bunch of deferrals. So like it winds up being pretty similar in terms of like real value dollars.
Yeah.
You want to be a Dodger? I mean, I think it's very clear from the moment it happened. Like I was just like, I need to see the money, but he wanted to be a Dodger. Very, very clear.
Now that the money's out there, the vacuum of the Kyle Tucker sweepstakes, I'm actually like, you did what you could to make it a difficult decision on him, and you made the Dodgers go to an even more ridiculous contract.
Yeah.
Now you got to worry about your own team still, and you got 30 days to give me a competitive baseball team that I currently don't think you have for 2026. Yeah.
I agree.
Oh, hold on. Chaman is saying, now he's talking to a different Andrew. Cooper Criswell is solid. The Mets just has to give him a chance. Something we didn't. I told you a New Year's resolution to really study the Mets farm system. I've never heard of Cooper Criswell. So I'm just going to take your word for that, Chaman.
Cooper Criswell is a pitcher who the Mets got who had been on the Red Sox, and I know this because Google exists, because I've never heard of this guy either. So don't feel too bad. He pitched 7 games this past season with the Red Sox.
Good. I don't feel bad anymore.
He's a 28-year-old with a career 0.1 WAR.
Oh. So. Okay. There you go.
The littlest amount you can be above replacement.
You got your Cooper Criswell factoids, Mets fans. I got nothing left, Rich. I'm ready to move on to what the Mets do next.
What else can we yell? You want to yell about Karl Anthony Towns?
I think Jonathan Macri did enough of that last night. Brother,
Shout out to the Knicks Film School. It was very entertaining last night.
The pull video that I posted of, I never do pull videos for Knicks Film School. I post a monologue the next day, and then every now and then, if something's important, I'll make a clip. Like I try to make a clip the next day. I posted a pull video with a quote, and if you go to the Knicks Film School YouTube channel, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. You'll see Karl Anthony Towns next to an angry Jonathan Macri and a quote underneath. It has over 300 comments. It is the most interacted thing that I think we've ever had outside of like we traded for this player. And this was just a 20-minute monologue. It also, fast forward to the very end, has the funniest transition in the history, it like in my career. Because it goes from Macri being like, that's it. I got nothing else to say. I'm done. And then it cuts to black and then comes back up with, hey there, Knicks fans. We are so excited about Fanatics fans. I was so proud of it while I was putting it together. Like, all right, this is funny. I'll take it.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Apparently the Knicks blew a 17-point lead tonight. I haven't watched anything.
Dude, sports. It's great that in this last year, I've really tried to work a lot on how I'm like reacting to sports, because the way I reacted to the Knicks losing that game 1 of the Pacers was so like heinously bad for my health and just also embarrassing. So I was like, I need to regulate on this now. Thank God, because the Mets collapsed and then they got rid of all their players and then they lost every bidding war to the Dodgers. The Jets at no point were enjoyable to watch this year, other than maybe the first 3 quarters of the season. First 3 quarters of the first game of the season, I should say. And now the Knicks are doing whatever the hell this has been in January. And I don't care about hockey very much anymore, but the Rangers also kind of suck.
Yeah. The 8-2 the other night they lost to Montreal.
Yeah, they got smacked.
At home, or to Boston even. Yeah.
Pittsburgh, I think, over last weekend.
Literally anybody probably has beaten the Rangers recently.
Yeah, they lost yesterday. Not good. Yeah, I mean, Giants got John Harbaugh, but I hate the Giants, so that's bad for me too.
Yeah. Bad for you, good for the city, I guess.
Yeah. But one thing I can be grateful for is I am a UConn fan. And unlike my professional teams, I've actually seen them win something. It will never hit as much as like one of my 3 main pro teams winning will, but it's my sports solace is I get UConn basketball, which is usually quite good.
So
yeah, we still have the Jets, James. We still have the Jets.
Still have the Jets. So 2 from Steve Piazza, 31. Shout out to Steve. He wanted to be a Dodger, quoting what I said. Well, who doesn't anymore? How does MLB counter that, specifically the Mets? Is there even an answer to that question? Makes you feel pretty powerless as a fan of any other team. Yeah, this is what I mentioned as far as what's the online reaction. It seemed from my comments, from the brief scroll through, and just from the chat so far tonight, it's very much like, it's not like the Mets limped into this and said, we don't think we can go to a place that the Dodgers can. They absolutely tried to, and the Dodgers just came close enough, like exceeded it by just enough to get the player. It feels powerless. I'm with that feeling. I don't know the answer. It's beat them. That's how you do. You beat them on the field.
There's an interesting and I think good rule change suggestion in the comments from Twitter, if you want to pull that up.
Let me see.
From Sports Enjoyer.
Oh, yeah. Cap on deferred money.
I think that's something like I'll never get behind salary cap, but I do think the Ohtani contract structure is pretty ludicrous. And again, no shade to the Dodgers because they did it while it was allowed. But that probably shouldn't be allowed. Like whether it's the dollars or you just want to do a percentage of a contract, like I think that should maybe be up for discussion. It's not going to stop all of this. Like the real answer is that enough teams need to emerge that are going to spend real money and become good enough themselves to at least be more of a, because right now the Dodgers are on an island. Somebody needs to get close to them to start peeling people off, and then you kind of can slowly rebalance the league a little bit. But look, the league let the Dodgers build themselves up to a point where now it's almost impossible to stop any player from going there, and you're not gonna be able to undo that right away. Like, the Dodgers are gonna have to start to stink, or other teams are gonna have to step up in a way that they haven't yet.
Any bets on Conforto?
Man, thanks for your service. I'm kind of the mind of, there's a few organizations in baseball where if a reclamation project kind of guy or a bounce back guy goes there and they can't even get a good year out of him, then like they're probably done. The Dodgers are that team. I used to think the Yankees were one of those teams. I still kind of do, because every year they have the most randomly great like offensive season from some guy that was never Trent Grisham. Look at him.
Yeah.
Screwed up their whole offseason too. But yeah, Trent Grisham, Chris Young went there and was good. The Mets got him, he stunk. God, there's a million examples. Raul Ibanez, like all these different guys were just like,
yeah,
insane for that. Cameron Maybin, great on the Yankees.
Aaron Hicks.
The Mets got him. He went 1 for 27, I think, to start his Met career, and he got cut.
Luke Voigt, guys like that.
Luke Voigt, yeah, a lot of these guys. So Yankees are one of those teams. I mean, that's
Gio Urshela,
I guess. Gio Urshela.
Yeah. No, Yankees have a history of doing
Didi Gregorius.
You could literally look at Jazz Chisholm, although he had the talent, but
yeah, never this good.
He was a leadoff hitter in Miami, and the Yankees have identified you're a 5-hitter. Like you're a middle of the order guy instead.
Cody Bellinger
had a better year in
counts.
Chicago, but wasn't playing himself into a 5-year deal potentially. So
yeah. So long story short, all that to say, Conforto went to the Dodgers, and last year I was like, I bet he might be like pretty good, and he really wasn't. And I don't think he was even on the postseason roster. If he was, he never played. I think sadly it's probably Jover for Michael Conforto.
Yeah. Okay. One more. I think it's a good way to pivot to off-season talk. Sports enjoyer, do you feel Jorge Polanco and Semien are upgrades over Nimmo and McNeil? I think it's a wash, Nimmo and Polanco. And on the aggregate, I think Semien can be an upgrade over McNeil, but he's making so much more money that it's a different conversation about what he is compared to McNeil. He's a better defensive player.
He's not making so much more money per season. It's just he's under contract for 3 more, but he's only making like $5 million more than McNeil's making like $15 million.
And isn't Semien making 20
or 25?
No, he's making which is like $10 million more dollars.
It's not so much. Like
it's like that's like 40% more.
I don't know. Who cares?
But that's what I'm trying to say is like it's a different financial commitment if you're going Semien to McNeil, whereas McNeil was going to be off your books at the end of next season, I think, and Semien has a guaranteed 3 more years. So it's a different commitment from a financial standpoint. Look, from a defensive standpoint, you're creating a pretty solid infield with Semien, Lindor, and Beatty if you're able to do it. And from an offensive standpoint, I think it's a wash. I genuinely think it's a wash. I think the ceiling, as weird as this sounds, Rich, I think the ceiling of Marcus Semien at this age is what Jeff McNeil was last year, like a 115 OPS plus.
He could be a little higher if he finds the power again,
which I don't think he will.
We'll see.
That's me, at least. I think his ceiling. Look, if he does, then the Mets will have a great season because Marcus Semien returned to all-star form. But if we get like a 110, 115 OPS plus for Marcus Semien, I'll be like, great, because that's a 4-WAR player, which I don't think Jeff McNeil's able to be anymore. And with Nimmo, I think it's him and Polanco are a wash. They just play different positions, which is why the Mets need to go get an outfielder.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's close. It's like same but different.
Yeah, this is the way to end it.
God damn it, James.
James Buckley. Now they can re-sign Marte. You know what? Why not? Soto needs his buddy this season. It's a 1 year.
No. No.
Any final thoughts, Rich, before we get out of here?
Yeah, man. I don't know. I think most of our live streams this winter have been like this, talking about somebody the Mets didn't get. And I mean, we keep saying we hope to see that change. It hasn't yet. I mean, look, all the live streams we've done, how many guys did they get? 2. We did one for Devin Williams. We did one for the trade, but that was, so the trade was kind of like a net neutral there. So yeah, it's really Polanco and Devin Williams are the only just like, hey, they signed somebody. Yeah, we didn't do one for Luke Weaver, and they didn't really sign anybody else worth talking about. So like, we can't blame the Mets here. I'm not gonna like go crazy in applauding them, but they did do everything that they could do here. I just want to see a day where we see a move that helps them get better, which we haven't seen that since the Polanco signing, which is over like a month ago at this point, if not a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree. So, they got 30 days. 30 days. I look forward to the now Cody Bellinger sweepstakes that they're probably going to enter into.
I just hope it ends quick.
Friday.
I don't. Tomorrow.
I hope it's tomorrow. That'd
be great. It'd be great if they did it right now.
Yeah.
Let's
while we're still done. Here, you got 30 seconds while I'm doing the outro.
Yeah, it'll be a joint.
Sign Cody Bellinger.
Joint live stream.
Yeah. That would be actually no. That's what you do. Wait until I sign off, and then we'll go live again, talking about Cody Bellinger.
There we go.
Okay, I'm going to go watch the Knicks lose to the Warriors. Thank you, everybody, for tuning into another edition of the Just Mets podcast. Like the video. Remember to subscribe to the channel. If you're listening, 5-star rating and a review, Apple, Spotify, wherever you're listening to your podcast. Follow us on all socials at Just Mets. And Kyle Tucker, enjoy LA, as everybody seems to. And all of the extra
World Series.
Enjoy the World Series. Enjoy baseball, this sport that you apparently hate, according to a lot of people, at a very expensive rate. He's Rich. I'm Andrew. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. In the words of the immortal Gary Cohen, we are out of here.